There are a couple things that will make this run a lot easier. Those things are Witherhoard and Stasis. I opted not to be the one on Witherhoard, as 801 hasn't had Blast Radius available for months, and it's incredibly helpful to have. Also helpful to have is a bow with explosive head and or Dragonfly. The delayed explosion from Dragonfly will take care of the mini-screeves before they have a chance to do anything. If you find yourself struggling on the boss, Aegis Scepter is really good at dealing with the adds, but you may have a hard time finding much use for it outside of that, as most of the rest of the Nightfall consists of ranged engagements. I went with Vex, so I'd have the option of farming Stasis turrets off of unstoppable stuns with Resonant Siphon. I'm also running your standard Protective Light with Taking Charge and Elemental Charge. If you're on Witherhoard, Shield Break Charge is the one I'd swap out. There aren't that many shields in this Nightfall. As for resist mods on your chest, in my experience, the two leading causes of death in this run are snipers and grenades, which are both void damage. If you're having trouble with the boss, you could swap this to an arc resist, but it's going to come with the same trade-off as Aegis Scepter, in that it'll make the boss easier, but the rest of the run becomes harder. Right into the run. This first part is mildly intimidating at first, as you're driving your Sparrow directly into a group of enemies, and GM teaches us real fast that doing so is suicidal, but it's honestly super rare to take a death on the way in. If you boost a little to the left or right here, you'll land on part of the platform that's sticking out. Try not to park your Sparrow so close that an enemy can blow it up and get a free kill on you. If you're running Stasis Lock with Resonant Siphon, throw your turret early and throw your turret often. Most of the time, you're going to get it right back. A rule of thumb for the rest of this Nightfall, there's going to be two snipers in the back of the room in almost every encounter, and they are always first priority. Try to avoid assuming that they're dead just because they aren't visible. They love to hide just as much as they love to kill the shit out of unsuspecting victims. If you're running the Stag, be super generous with your riffs. Maximizing your value with this exotic is all about having the riff down before you get annihilated, and you'll get most of it right back if you reach critical health anyway. If you don't get all of it back from stunning champions first, that is. Be prepared for the first unstoppable here to spawn in dangerously close. And don't ignore the snipers. The ones in the room with the first pressure plate are more elusive. They'll hide until you get bored and start killing something else, and then come out and take you down while you're distracted. You can clear the ads separately from the boss by not pushing the plate all the way in. Leave it at the last notch until you're ready for the tank. You'll have the usual round of snipers on each side and unstoppables that will help you fill the room with stasis turrets. Collect any ammo laying around and try to have some heavy ready for the tank. Start from a spot that you can quickly reach the tank from and have the whole team focus on one leg. The faster the leg breaks, the sooner the tank is disabled. And we want that to happen fast, because killing the tank fast enough will skip an entire wave of mobs. In the next room, once you've bullied the overloads into oblivion, you're going to do the same thing with these pressure plates that you did with the first one, just more gradually. Jump off the plate and take out adds as they spawn. Mini Screeps can only go so far before they explode on their own, and the range of the boss doesn't cover the entrance, so chill in the back and this room shouldn't give you any problems. Be mindful of what kind of ammo is on the ground in the room. If you have heavy bricks to pick up and you're full on heavy ammo, don't let it go to waste. Save a few shots for the next section though, there's snipers you're going to want to delete fast. Speaking of, there's 2 in the next section that are gonna try to get away with some shit. They're not the ones you're saving heavy ammo for though. Those are in the back of the gender reveal party going on this bridge. Free real estate. Onto the boss, which is probably what you're here for, so I'll give you the TLDR up front. This boss is a marathon, not a sprint. Do not burn, just whittle. The reason being, at certain percentages, he'll summon ads. At other percentages, he'll go immune, teleport you, and draw you in. And there are going to be times when those percentages are so close together that doing too much damage to the boss will have them overlap. And you really, really do not want that. In my experience, it's almost a guaranteed wipe. So when mobs happen, stop all damage on the boss until they're dead. I'm going to use my own mistake here as an example of what not to do on this boss. In the background, the rest of my team is engaging the first spawn on the right side. While it is ideal to distribute your team across both sides of the map so that whichever side the boss isn't shooting at has free reign, you do also need to pay attention to what's happening on the other side. The combined damage from Witherhoard and Vex here pushed the boss to the next threshold and spawned ads on my side while my team was still clearing out the spawn on their side. What this translates to in plain English is my only death in this run was my own fault. A couple notes for anyone on Witherhoard in this fight. Treat the ramps on the platforms as choke points. And use this to help out with the other side as well. Twice during the fight, the boss will teleport behind a shield in the back of the room and send hordes of mobs after you. If you group up, this choke point strategy is by far the easiest way to handle this. Witherhoard lays down a death zone and they become lemmings. This is also where Ager's Scepter can do some serious work. If used properly, it can turn Witherhoard into the backup plan, which, let's be real, it's super nice to have a backup plan in GM. An overload will come at the end of the first wave and an unstoppable at the end of the second. They can be stunned and or kited around the map if the team needs a moment to pick up ammo, or farmed if anyone with Resonance Siphon needs something off cooldown. When the boss goes immune, there are 2 things that need to happen in a smooth run. The first is, Witherhoard needs to be on the boss. And a note on Witherhoard, a direct hit and a puddle on the ground do separate ticks of damage. The second is, the entire team needs to be walking backwards during the teleport. Your momentum will be maintained, and it'll take a lot longer for you to get pulled in. Let me break down a couple things in real time so you get a feel for the flow of the fight. Protective Light saves me here, and since that means I'm no longer charged with light, I use Vex to create orbs to pick up that will give me stacks to charge with light again. And down the road, what that decision comes down to is I'm able to eat a shot from the boss here without dying. This, on the other hand, I can't explain. Pro gamer from the Matrix Omega lol? Oh my god, I'm alive! I'm not alive! I'm alive! Try to stay aware of what the boss is doing at all times, and use your audio. The last third of this fight is your final obstacle, and it's a lot of chaos. Stay the course, but be extra careful. If you're at a loss for what to do, remember, doing nothing is also a viable option, and it's preferable to accidentally pushing the boss to a point that ends the run. Most of my unsuccessful runs ended here. He goes behind the shield at 33%, and educated guesses on these percentages, but pull at 30, mobs at 29, pull at 28. The windows are very thin, and it can be saved, but best case scenario, you won't need to. Try to save some supers for the second mob phase. Right here, I heard this growl on the right and reacted with a rift just in case. But I also can't explain this one. I'm dead, right? Actual free real estate. If someone goes down, just stop doing damage until they're up. But don't wait next to them. In the last third of the fight, the boss will drop 2 puddles, and you might shit on them and make them unrevivable. Again, this situation is salvageable. Have a plan in case you need one. Your target priority needs to be on point in this moment. Avoid the powerful mobs so that you're able to leave your stasis turret with as few targets to subdue as possible, which will enable you to focus on taking out the boss's shield. Pro tip here, if you're struggling to process the amount of things going on your screen, or if you're just bored, you can disintegrate corpses with high impact elemental weapons. I don't know about you, but I jump at shadows in Grandmaster. Once I learned this, I started doing it all the time. To quote Zombieland, rule number 32, enjoy the little things, like your friend overcommitting and getting destroyed for it. And that is Grandmaster Hollowed Lair. Good luck in there, subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, and have a good one.